All right, get this. Jimmy Kimmel, Olympic snowboarder Jamie Anderson, and pop star Sabrina Carpenter all walk into the metaverse. Sounds like the start of a bad joke, right?
Uh-huh. It does.
But it's actually a headline-grabbing tactic to solve a pretty serious problem. Getting Gen Z to vote, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got this press release and a really interesting news article about this new campaign. It's called Virtual Vote, and it's all happening on Roblox.
Roblox. Interesting.
Now, I know you're plugged into this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But for anyone who hasn't jumped into a Roblox rabbit hole yet, we're talking about a gaming platform with a staggering 60 million active users. That's a whole lot of potential voters.
It is, and it's not just the sheer number of users that's important here. It's also where they're spending their time, right?
Yeah.
This virtual vote campaign isn't just some banner ad that you're just scrolling past. It's woven directly into these popular Roblox experiences like Fashion Classette and Liftopia.
Okay, that's kind of brilliant when you think about it. I mean, we're talking about a generation that spends an average of 78 hours a month on Roblox. To put that in perspective, that's more time than they spend on TikTok, YouTube, and Snapchat combined.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like setting up a voter registration booth at like the biggest music festival on the planet, but in the metaverse.
Exactly. And, this campaign gets out to truly resonate with Gen Z. You have to speak their language. You have to meet them on their turf. Instead of lecturing from a soapbox, they're integrating civic engagement into an environment where these young people are already spending a significant portion of their lives.
Yeah, and let's be real, they're making it seriously fun. We're talking about the chance to win a trip to meet Jimmy Kimmel, a snowboarding lesson with Jamie Anderson, or even VIP tickets to a Sabrina Carpenter concert. All for engaging with the democratic process.
And let's not forget the allure of exclusivity. The campaign is also featuring limited edition avatar merchandise designed by Who's Trade, which is, a major player in the world of virtual fashion. These aren't just throwaway digital items. These are status symbols, highly coveted by Roblox users. It's like intrinsically tied to their online identities.
Right. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like they've tapped into the currency of this generation.
Mm.
And while scoring those VIP concert tickets is a pretty sweet deal, what's really interesting here is that this virtual vote thing, it's completely nonpartisan. They're not pushing any particular candidate or party line, which I imagine, that's got to come with its own set of challenges in the metaverse, right?
Absolutely. It's a delicate balance, isn't it? Because on the one hand, you're trying to encourage participation in the overall democratic process, no strings attached. But then on the other hand, they're doing it in a space that's already saturated with, brands, influencers, and political ideologies all vying for attention.
It's like trying to have a calm conversation about civic duty in the middle of a virtual mosh pit. So how do they navigate that? How do they make sure that the message cuts through the noise without alienating anyone or appearing to take sides?
Well, one way they're doing that is by framing the campaign as like a fun and engaging experience. First and foremost, it's not about bombarding users with political rhetoric or anything. It's about meeting them where they are in a language they understand and offering them something that they actually want, like these coveted experiences and virtual goods. It's more about just planting that seed of civic engagement, right, within an environment that already feels natural and familiar to them.
Yeah, it's kind of like that old saying, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar, right?
Yeah.
But instead of flies, we're talking about young voters.
Yeah.
And instead of honey, we've got Jimmy Kimmel and limited edition avatar swag.
Precisely. And it's not a new concept. Think back to MTV's Rock the Vote campaign, or even like Taylor Swift's voter registration efforts. These were successful campaigns, and you know why? Because they understood the assignment. They met young people where they were at, spoke their language, and leveraged, the power of popular culture to make civic engagement feel cool, accessible, and relevant.
And speaking of understanding the assignment, this whole virtual vote initiative, it's a pretty massive collaborative effort, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just one organization. We're talking about Virtual Brand Group, Super League, HeadCount, and a whole bunch of others all teaming up.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really fascinating, right? You've got experts in virtual branding, you've got gaming, youth outreach, voter engagement, and they're all coming together, pooling their knowledge and resources around this shared goal. It really highlights the kind of innovative, outside-the-box thinking that I think becomes possible when you break down those traditional silos and allow different disciplines to just collide.
It really makes you wonder what other possibilities are out there, right? If we can use a gaming platform to engage young people in voting, what other seemingly insurmountable challenges could we tackle using this kind of immersive technology? It's wild. It's like opening a door to this whole new world of possibilities, and who knows what we'll find on the other side. But for now, it seems like this virtual vote campaign on Roblox is a pretty fascinating first step. It's more than just like a catchy marketing ploy, you know? It's a genuine attempt to tackle a real issue head on, and it seems to be working.
Absolutely. It's showing us that we can't just rely on those old methods to reach a generation that's like digitally native, you know?
Right.
They live and breathe in these virtual spaces, and it's up to us to meet them there, not on our terms, but on theirs, right?
Yeah, it's a good reminder that innovation often happens when we kind of step outside of our comfort zones and we challenge our assumptions.
Right.
Like, who would have thought that the key to engaging young voters might lie in a virtual world filled with avatars and limited edition digital merchandise?
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so compelling,
Yeah.
right? We started with this like seemingly simple premise, a campaign on Roblox. And we've uncovered this whole web of insights about Gen Z, about civic engagement, and this like evolving relationship between these virtual and real worlds, you know?
Yeah, for sure. We've covered a lot of ground here today, from the sheer scale of Roblox and its grip on Gen Z's attention to the power of celebrity and the allure of exclusivity. I mean, it's clear that this campaign is firing on all cylinders. But the real question is, will it actually move the needle on voter turnout?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
And unfortunately, it's one we won't have an answer to until after the election. But regardless of the outcome, this campaign, I think, has already sparked a really critical conversation about how we approach this civic engagement in the digital age. It's a conversation that I hope, we continue to have long after the polls close.
Yeah, it's definitely given us a lot to chew on. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we'll leave you with this. Is this fusion of gaming and civic duty a sign of things to come? Or is it just a flash in the pan? I mean, we've explored one intriguing possibility today, but the future of engagement, especially when it comes to Gen Z, that's still being written,
Very true.
It's going to be fascinating to see where it all goes. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everybody. We'll catch you next time.